Robinson. I'm at 160 Wood Park Drive, Youngsville, North Carolina.
Spell your last name.
Robinson, Robinson. And I have a couple of follow-up questions too around student discipline as well as around the code of conduct. You mentioned there's a new code of conduct. Has that been implemented or will that be implemented?
So when Mr. Sturges says there's a new code of conduct, we actually have had an existing code of conduct, and what the discipline matrices do, which are being implemented this year, is they take the student code of conduct, which had discipline ranges for different offenses, and it just creates a layout for those that it clarifies the language, it gives consequences based on progression of behavior, and it's just a way to take the student code of conduct and interpret it in a really specific way so that there's more consistency in the implementation of the student code of conduct school to school. We put that new discipline matrix, which just translates that student code of conduct in place. We've also streamlined the process for management of student discipline using an electronic platform that starts at the classroom level with disciplinary infractions, and it gives us data along the way, all the way to more significant disciplinary actions. And what that does is it gives us specific data so that we can identify areas by school or across the district where we have strengths, and then areas where we need to improve and be more proactive in preventing some of those disciplinary actions by making sure that we're addressing behaviors before they become a greater issue. So it's really just taking the student code of conduct that we have, making it clearer, the language clearer, helping administrators know what's an appropriate punishment or for specific behaviors, and then addressing that more consistently as a district, and then being able to have some data so that we can have a conversation around looking at student data and where our issues are so that we can address those.
Okay, so around the discipline, is the no tolerance policy that has been used in the past, will that be a building block or contingency of this plan? Because in the past, when I've dealt with disciplinary issues, the issues of where we have a no tolerance policy. And my concern is with the no tolerance policy, is there evidence that suggests that a no tolerance policy is the best measure or best way to go about disciplining students at school?
A specific example?
Specific example of anything that happens, you know, something happens in the school where we have a no tolerance policy, therefore.
Bringing a gun to school?
That's state law. There are some things within this policy or within our matrix that are going to still be zero tolerance, because that's state law. But if you bring a gun to school, we don't have.
I'm not talking about those extremes. I'm talking about maybe altercation in the classroom between the students, maybe arguing, not necessarily a fist fight, but just arguing, or somebody accidentally touched somebody, not actually engaged in a fist fight, but just there's no tolerance.
Dr. Webb, where does that fall?
So the no tolerance approach is not in our matrix, except for those things that are required, those extreme cases. It is it's more of a these are the interventions that we take, and they're progressive, just like everything else, and with repeated offenses. But as far as an automatic, every disciplinary action, unless it's mandated by the state or specifically by board policy, there are options for the administrators to look at other than zero tolerance. There are interventions, there are circumstances that can make it better or can make it worse, and the new discipline matrix looks at that. And you know, we actually embrace the state codes, and the state has many codes for many different functions. And so helping us define what is you mentioned touching someone versus fighting. So we actually, here's what fighting is, and here is aggressive behavior and those types of things. So that's broken out in the discipline matrix for the administrators that we have to have safe schools, we're gonna have safe schools. But throughout the course of the matrices, it's looking at options to change behavior, not just punish.
Okay, so there's options not to change behavior, not necessarily punish the students.
There's gonna be a zero tolerance for bad behavior, but when we think of zero tolerance, we mean you're gonna be kicked out of school. And that's not what this is. There are some things, like if you bring a gun or do a terrorist thing, that's a zero tolerance by law. But the school system's not gonna condone bad acts. This is a way to try to figure out are there ways to combat the bad conduct short of expelling them. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So that's gonna be new and rolled out to administrators? It has been, okay. And my second question is around the same, kind of on the same lines with the gifted and talented program. Just in the past, the general hard fast rules around wanting access to your child to be able to be in the gifted program, but they've fallen outside of slightly fallen outside of the guidelines that's printed on a sheet of paper, and having those discussions with administrators, and administrators not being receptive to, even though your child has maybe fallen outside of these guidelines slightly, you no longer have access to AIG. So are there going to be things are we still going to have hard, fast guidelines, or there's going to be a true effort to engage minority students within AIG?
So there will be a true effort to engage minority students, and we're looking at more measures, potential measures. So there's a little more flexibility instead of, and I'm just using a number, instead of having 5 criteria, there might be 7 criteria with some additional assessments and ways to measure potential giftedness so that it can be more inclusive. But there still will be criteria, and it's difficult to operate outside of having some criteria for AIG identification. We are looking at some alternate measures. We're looking at ways to enhance the AIG plan so that we're able to bring in more students who historically maybe have not been able or been part of that process.
And we're also trying to make sure that our classes, even though they're not identified as AIG, that AIG material is given in all of our classes, that they have access to those particular elements of learning.
I think that's a really important point too. We talk to principals about making sure that instruction, teachers, about making sure that instruction is rigorous. And the expectation is that regardless of where the student is performing academically, we need to meet them where we are and challenge them to continue to grow. And that's for students who are struggling, students who are doing well in class, students who are exceeding, and they need to be challenged more. And that's an ongoing conversation that we're having
For every classroom.
For every classroom.
Okay. Well, just to give you a specific example, happened to my child around the AIG.
Now, you don't have to, if you want to talk about your child's fine, but we can't.
Well, no, I'm going to a policy change that was made as it relates to a policy change around giving access to education and courses around Math 1. There was a policy change around the Math 1 requirement versus what was done in the past that limited access to people having the ability to take certain courses where they didn't have that restriction in the past. So I'm just trying to understand, like, when a lot of policy changes take place, parents are unaware that they're taking place, and it impacts one child from who was able to take Math 1 in the 8th grade versus another child who was not, due to policy changes and access to courses. So I'm just trying to understand how access, we talk about improving access, but the result of things that are going on are totally different than what is happening.
So, are you talking about the Math 1 placement criteria being changed several years ago, maybe 4 years ago? Yes, so, Math 1 at the middle school level, at one point, we had a large number of students who were participating in Math 1. The criteria were narrowed down, and I'd say it was maybe 3 years ago, and were strictly adhered to for Math 1 in middle school. And the reason that that was in place is that we had students who didn't have the foundation to be successful in Math 1, taking Math 1 in 8th grade. We had students who needed more support and foundational work before before they were prepared for Math 1, they weren't as successful with Math 1 as we wanted them to be in 8th grade, and then they didn't have the when you do Math 1 in 8th grade, you're also combining Math 1 with also your 8th grade math curriculum, and you're not getting that full impact of both of those courses. So with that, the Math 1 criteria was tightened up on so that students who entered Math 1 in 8th grade were well prepared to be successful in Math 1 in 8th grade, and in the hopes that they have a solid foundation and were prepared to be successful at higher level math classes at the high school level. That's why those criteria were put in place.
And those criteria will probably remain in place?
That's something that we're gonna continue to look at. I mean, we wanna make sure that we have students, that students are prepared to be successful, and we will continue to have criteria, what those criteria look like. That will continue to be a discussion as we develop. That'll be part of that AIP plan development. Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
And those meetings are open on